Tag TV, and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. Mark your calendars. Next Tuesday morning, March 3rd at the Cobb Galleria may well be the biggest attended and most important event in the history of Georgia's technology community. That's right. It's the 2009 Georgia Technology Summit, the premier Georgia technology industry celebration that this year promises to be the most dynamic in TAG's 10-year history. Live in a rare appearance here in Atlanta, it's none other than #1 best-selling author and award-winning national columnist Tom Friedman. Then experience the excitement and dynamic insight of America's educator, honored at the White House and featured on CNN and Oprah, Ron Clark. Next up, be prepared to be totally amazed at the global perspectives and worldwide marketplace observations of the head of a $10 billion operation that spans a world of both innovation and insight as we share the expertise of GE Energy Services President Dan Heinzelman. You'll want to be there to witness the induction of one of Georgia's most respected, admired, and most important influencers of Georgia's technology industry, past, present, and future, as the Technology Hall of Fame honors retiring president of Georgia Tech and the new Smithsonian Secretary, Georgia's own Wayne Clough, as its 2008 Hall of Fame inductee. But wait, there's more. Innovation transformed into action as TAG showcases its 2009 Top 40 Innovative Technology Companies. Be the first to discover who's awarded the highly coveted recognition of Top 10 Most Innovative Technologies in all of Georgia. Greetings, everyone. It's a little more than a few days and counting to the March 3rd, 2009 Georgia Technology Summit, and this is a special Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella, as we meet with a member of the Summit's Top 40 Selection Committee and founder and managing director of one of Atlanta's leading investment banking and private equity firms, Ed Croft, of the firm Croft & Bender. Since its inception, the firm has advised clients on M&A transactions with over $3 billion aggregate value, has raised over $700 million in growth capital, and sponsors the C&B Capital Fund with some $44 million under management, and serves as a member of the 2009 Summit's VIP group of judges known as the Top 40 Most Innovative Selection Committee. A current board member of the Atlanta Venture Forum, a member of the Investment Committee of the Community Foundation of Greater Atlanta, and a former member of the NASD Corporate Finance Committee. The Tech Talk turns to the Top 40 competition, one of the most anticipated award recognitions of the annual Georgia Technology Summit, as Tino goes inside the months of the selection process with one of the selection committee members, Croft & Bender's own managing director, Ed Croft.
Ed, thank you for joining me on Tech Talk.
Glad to do that, Tino.
Hey, I think we'd like to start with the goal of the Top 40 competition. I know you've just completed the process here of interviewing a number of the companies, but what's the ultimate goal?
Tino, there is an amazing amount of innovation going on in the state of Georgia, and the goal of the Top 40 is to recognize, reward, and highlight the best companies for their most impressive innovations. And it's been a privilege to be involved with this, and I think people are going to be very excited to meet some of these good companies.
Well, we really appreciate the time that you took in the committee. I know that it's not an easy process. There's so many good companies that participate in this. There was an application process, and I know we had a number of applicants, but how were the applicants, first of all, selected to narrow it down to what would be the top 40, and ultimately I know you're in the midst of looking and defining the top 10?
That's correct. You know, the over 90 applicants emerged from the process. There was a lot of tag publicity, word of mouth. Many of the companies were very familiar with the process and were excited about submitting their formal applications. The selection committee basically consisted of about 15 people, most of whom are experienced in either financing or operating technology companies. So it was a lot of fun to be in this group and meeting these companies. And the selection committee met several times and went through the applications as they came in, maybe in batches of 15 or 20 initially and so forth. And then for the group that was broadly viewed to represent the best, some 15 to 20 came in for individual interviews, and that was very exciting as well. So it was a thorough process, and there was a lot of interaction with these companies, and I think people are going to be very pleased with the results.
Now, I know in your line of work you are spending a good bit of time talking to companies, and now we have, as you pointed out, these innovative Georgia technology companies. Did you see this year particularly any emerging themes or trends that came from the companies?
Yes, we did, Tino. It was interesting. A wide range of companies in terms of their business plans and their technologies. But in terms of some of the themes, we saw some very interesting alternative energy companies or energy management companies. Also, a fair number of internet security companies or transaction security, web-based transaction security companies. We also saw a number of the Web 2.0, the social networking companies. There are a number of those that applied. And then there was a broad range of different software application companies focused on different niches, a number of which, though, were in the mobile space, which is, of course, a very, very hot area. So I would say that overall, those were the most prevalent of the emerging themes.
So everyone listening will, I'm sure, have felt in some way the economy and the downturn that we're in the midst of. Yet we use the summit as a place to celebrate and recognize technology companies, and we're going to have over 1,000 people next week at the summit, so we're excited about that. And so the question I have for you is, from a standpoint of economic climate and the response that you guys received, it seems like you still had a great response.
Yeah, we don't think that the economy affected the number of responses. I think we had well over 90, and it seemed to be very strong. In fact, it may have gone the other way, Tino. This economy may have encouraged some of these companies to try and gain more visibility for the companies in a tough time. And so since I wasn't on the selection committee last year, I don't know how it would compare number-wise, but our team was very, very pleased with the response.
Yeah, and it seemed like the strength in the companies, as I heard, was very strong this year, which was good. Now, the companies, we started talking about this, actually. The companies do benefit in a number of ways from participating, particularly if they're selected in the top 40, and then in the top 10, they're going to have a chance to speak in front of 1,000 people and tell their story. So other benefits that you can point out back to the companies that are participating?
Sure. I think just applying, just making the application forces them to think about their business in a more informed way, and then they have to present it. And if they become a top 40 company, and much less a top 10, it certainly adds credibility to their marketing efforts. I noticed a number of these companies who'd applied before or who have won other things use those in their materials. Also, I think that when it comes to raising capital, I think it would be helpful for the venture capitalists or the other financing sources to see some, record of validation from, informed groups that have looked at the company. So I think it's a great positive for these companies to not only apply but to become a top 40 company and a top 10 company within that group.
Well, those are good points, and it seems like with the 15 judges that we had, that in a way the companies, anybody that got into this top 20 group gets some mentoring along the way, and you provide feedback to these companies, and hopefully they'll take that to heart, and it will be a way that they can improve in some sense in terms of their company direction, particularly if they're looking for funding. So just for the listeners who haven't been to the summit before, I'm sure there's a few out there, all top 40 companies will have a chance to exhibit, and we provide plenty of time at the summit for our attendees to visit each booth and talk to the companies and really learn something about what's happening in Georgia in respect to innovation and entrepreneurship. And then the top 10, as I said, get a chance to present. So, Ed, I'm really looking forward to the summit, as I know you are. And, again, I want to thank you for joining me today, and thanks for being a judge in the top 40 competition.
Thank you, Tino. I really enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a great program.
We'll see you next week.